Hello, online crew. Let's have a chat about content creation. Is this something that you struggle with? If it is, I want to share a couple of things with you that should definitely help you think this through. So, if you're that person that thinks, I don't know what to post, I'm confused about posting, you're not clear about what you should post about, you're not consistent with posting, it completely overwhelms you. You do a lot of thinking about it, but not a lot of executing about it. Like if that's your kind of thought process around, content creation, and it feels a little bit forced. I need to post something. I don't know what to post. I'm confused about what to post. I don't post often enough. They're the kind of thought processes that you have around content creation. Then listen up. This live is for you. So, hello, if we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin. I help social sellers create social media systems with building online. So if you want to build online, but you want to do it in a way where you're a human before a marketer, so that aligns with you, then you're in the right place, because that's what I talk about here. So let's talk about content. Like, does that resonate with any of you? If you're listening live or catching the replay, do you struggle with content? I find a lot of people that I work with in my communities, this is one area where people continually sort of let themselves down, or they majorly overthink because they're not intentional with their content, and they're lacking two things. So the two things, if you struggle with content creation, that you really want to dial in with is, one, your brand. Let me get back to that in a second. And two, a system for creating your content. So I'll run through basically with you what that kind of looks like. Now, if you are in my coaching community, you're an Online Crew coaching community member, I've just done a detailed training earlier today exactly about this, with a worksheet of exactly what you need to do to have endless content creation ideas. So if you're a coaching community member, go and catch the replay of that training. It was only just over 30 minutes, and I've given you a worksheet to work through so you never struggle with creating content again. Okay. So the two things that you want to look at is like your branding message and a content creation sort of process, a system to follow. Now let's have a think about your branding. For you to have really effective content, like content is king. Content is what creates the conversations. This is what I say here all the time. There's two things that you really need to dial in with building online successfully, and that's your content and your conversations. So ideally with attraction marketing, your content is creating the conversations. If your content is not creating the conversations, if you're putting content out there at the moment and it's not creating the conversations, then you might need to do some more prospecting and networking and creating conversations, because your content's not doing it for you. Ideally, you grow the skill in creating the content, so the content creates those conversations for you. That's attraction marketing at play, okay? But for you to create effective, intentional content, it's got to align with what your personal brand is. So let's just have a quick sort of discussion about what you need to consider around that. What are you kind of known for? When people think of you, what do they think about? What content are you putting out there that creates an impression about who you are, what you enjoy doing, what it is that you're passionate about, and more so, what do you help people with? So if I scanned your social media, whether you're on Instagram here or Facebook or YouTube here, if I scanned your content, what impressions would I get from you? Are you a cool person? Are you a happy person? Are you an inspiring person? Are you into health and wellness? Are you into weight loss? Are you into skincare? Are you into travel? What are you into? So is your content creating that? So does your brand align with that? And ideally, what you want to create regarding a branding message, a personal message, is kind of one thing. Doesn't mean that you're one-dimensional. It means you might talk about lots of things, but what do you really want to be known for? And what I would recommend that you do regarding sort of this industry and social selling and, network marketing is, most of you will have a product or a service and the business opportunity. What do you want to lead with? What do you want to be known for? If you get known for one thing and you do a good job at that through your content, it kind of gives you permission to then go in whatever direction you like once you get known for one thing and you start growing an audience for that one thing. Once you've got an audience and you've got a following and you've got influence over that audience, you can go in whatever direction you like. But what are you starting out with? What's your brand? What's your one thing? So you might have a business opportunity and products and services. That's cool. In your personal profile, you can blend, you can have content regarding both. If you've got a Facebook business page, you're probably more focused. If you've got a Facebook group, your brand will be more focused. If you're on TikTok, your brand will be more focused. On a personal profile is where we have a little bit more, a little bit more variety in our content buckets because it is a personal profile. Like it's not made for business, although these days with the tools that Facebook gives us on a Facebook professional profile, you can be more branded. But just think about what platform are you on and what do you want to be known for? And don't be all things to all people. So have a think about, okay, when people think about me, what do they think of? I mean, do I know you? If I knew you, what would I say about you? What would I say that you help people with? What would your friends and family and acquaintances and followers say that you help people with? Is that clear? If it's clear, that's your brand and that's what your content has got to align with. So have a think about that. And I'll say this again because I really want this to sink in. Once you get known for one thing and you start growing an audience and a following and you start having conversations around that one thing, then it gives you permission to go in other directions because you've already got the following, you've already got the influence, you're already building the brand. A really, really, really good example of this, and I've mentioned this quite often, is Chalene Johnson. You may or may not know who she is. Basically, she teaches people how to build businesses online. She talks about all sorts of stuff now. But she started her online journey in a network marketing business as a fitness person. So she was fit and she taught aerobics online and fitness things online, and she got well known for that. But because she was doing it online and growing a following, then what naturally came is people were like, how are you growing this following online? How are you building your business by doing this online? So then she pivoted and started teaching and training and moving into building a business online. And that's more what she's known for now. But now she talks about, the fake boobs that she had and the problems with plastic surgery and surgeons and sex. And she talks about whatever. And it doesn't matter because she's already got the following. She was able to transition into being a business person and talking about how to, particularly grow on Instagram and things like that, because she already had the following. But she grew the following by, teaching aerobics and being a fitness person. So do you see how this works online? What's your one thing? What's your brand? And create content that aligns with your one thing. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to put content out about other things, but what are you leading with? What's your one thing? If I looked at your socials, what problems would I gather that you resolve? Is that clear to me? If I scanned your socials, it's like, oh, is that kind of what they do? Oh, is that what they solve? That's what they teach. Is that clear? You've got to sort that out first. Does that make sense? So for you to have endless content creation ideas, you've got to work out what it is that you want to position yourself as online, because that's where the content is going to come from. You don't want a whole lot of content that's shared content. You don't just want viral things that you're sharing. You don't want content that's here, there, and everywhere, because you're going to be working very hard on your social media and it's going to result in no customers and no team members. Because it's all over the place. It's not intentional. You want to create endless content creation ideas and not struggle with content. You've got to know your brand for once and for all. And if you really want that to be beneficial for you, then you want to create intentional content, not just I'm all over the place. I'm just posting when I feel like it. I'm exhausted by content. I'm exhausted by social media. I need a social media break. I need a detox from Facebook and Instagram and all the things because I'm exhausted by content. People say this to me all the time. So I'll scan their social media and say, well, you haven't posted for 2 weeks. How come you're exhausted? The only person that should be exhausted from creating social media content is somebody that is smashing out content and repurposing on their content on all platforms, and they're just a content machine. I could look at their content and go, yeah, okay, I can see why you're exhausted by your content creation because you're smashing it with the content. So if I looked at your content and you say, I'm so exhausted by social media, I need a detox from social media, but you're not posting regularly, you're not posting consistently, you don't have a dialed in brand, you are thinking about content a lot, but you're not executing it very smartly at all. Does that resonate with any of you? So why I'm talking about this is because for you to, if you're struggling with content, there's 2 things that you really need to dial in. One, your branding message. What do you want to be known for? What's your one thing? And don't overthink that. It doesn't mean you can't talk about other things. It just means that you're leading with one thing. The other thing is a content creation plan. So I've just done this through in detail for the coaching community again. So if you're a coaching community member, then definitely go and catch the replay of that training because they've got a worksheet for all of this, okay? But basically, you want to work out what your solution is and you come up with content pillars. So whatever your brand is, come up with 5 content pillars. Then from those 5 content pillars, you have sub-content. So subtopics from those content pillars. And then from your subtopics, you have micro topics from those subtopics, okay? That's all you need to do. And you brainstorm that, okay? So what could we talk about? Let's talk about an example. Let's say your brand is you help people. Let's take anti-aging for an example. So I'll just give you an example to sort of think this through for yourself with whatever it is that you do in business, okay? So let's say you're into anti-aging. So you're into skincare and things like that, but you're into anti-aging, but it's non-toxic, it's chemical free, it's without Botox and all the nasties and things like that. So your branding message is I help mature women look younger, but naturally without needing Botox, something like that. That's your branding message, okay? So you need content that's going to resonate with that branding message. So what you might put out there is obviously you want posts out there regarding, natural health for starters, aging, the natural aging process, how do you resolve that, etc. So your 5 content pillars might be, there might be a range of natural products. It might be education around what ages people. So that could be anything from the sun to, dangerous products that we put on our skin, your average sunscreen, the awful chemicals that it's got in it, like that, those kind of things. It could be like skincare routines, a morning routine, a nighttime routine, things like that. There might be foods like sugars and things like that. So that might be another content pillar, and it could be hydration. So do you see I've got different content pillars? I've got like products, dangers, of chemicals and things that you put on your skin. That could be another content pillar. Skincare routines, morning routines might, that could be another content pillar. Foods, hydration, you've got your main content pillars as to what you're going to talk about around that topic of anti-aging. Then in each one of those content pillars, so let's say, routines, skincare routines, off that pillar, then I'm going to peel back the onion again, and I'm going to have a whole lot of content topics from skincare routines. So micro content from that might be morning routine, nighttime routine. What does that look like? Education around that. Chemicals, the products. We can have a whole lot of subtopics that are going to relate to skincare routines. Okay, products. That's one of your content pillars. Peel back the onion and have 5 subtopics off your content pillar. So that could be educating people about ingredients. What are harmful ingredients that people should not put on their skin? What are other ingredients that you should put on your skin? Understanding labels. Like there's a whole lot of subtopics that you could put under the heading of products. What are the products that you use? You could have collagen products. You could have all the different types of products. They're all subtopics. And then with those, like one of your subtopics could be talking about collagen. Then your micro topics from collagen should be, what is collagen? How do you understand collagen? Why is collagen important? Should you have powdered collagen or liquid collagen? Educating people about collagen, the different types of collagen. Like there's all sorts of micro topics from my subtopic of collagen from my core content pillar of products. Do you see how you can create content when you have a branding statement that you stand behind, you want to be known for, the solution to, everybody's problems with a particular topic. And then you come up with 5 core content pillars, and then you have sub topics from each content pillar, and then you have micro topics from each subtopic. It's as easy as that. Stop overcomplicating it. But don't go through that process unless you've got your branding message sorted out. So the 2 main things that you need if you struggle with content creation: 1, maybe you need to go back and revisit what it is that you stand for. What do you want to be known for? What's your one thing? And I'll also say this around a branding statement, because this is where I see people get really hung up on branding statements, is that you feel you need to be an expert, or you feel you need to be successful first before you can position yourself that way. And that's not true. Once you've got a vision and a mission and you know where you're going on that one thing, then you just take people on the ride for you. You take people on the journey with you, and you share, you don't dictate. So when you deliver the content from the brainstorming that I've just shared with you on how to do, and again, coaching community members, I've got a worksheet. I've given you a process to follow to work all of this out. So go and get that. The video training and the worksheet is in the coaching community group now. Go and get that information. Okay. So when you work through this and you dial down, the layers, you get really, really focused and you get really intentional with your content. So not only do you eliminate the overwhelm of creating content, you know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly what kind of content you want to put out there because you've brainstormed it with the process that I just shared with you. And that content will then create the conversations with the right people. When you are all over the place with your content, you're just posting this and that and whatever and whoever, and there's no structure to it. There's no brand behind it, that you're not aligned with, what you want people to know about you or what you're passionate about. Your results in your business are all over the place. So resolve that. So when you're streamlined and, you're taking people on a journey and you're just sharing, again, you don't need to be an expert and you don't need to have success. Think about people on a weight loss journey. I showed up on TikTok earlier this year. I started in March. I hadn't resolved anything to do with weight loss in March. I just got up, did a video and said, this is where I'm at. I'm not happy. I'm going on a new journey and I'm going to share it here. I took my audience on the journey with me. Take your audience on a journey with your content. But what's your brand that spells out that journey? You've got to reverse engineer it so the content is congruent with your brand. And your brand might be different on something like TikTok that it is on your Facebook personal profile, that it is in a Facebook group or a Facebook business page. So work out where your branding is positioned on where you're hanging out on social media. Start there, dial it in, work out what your one thing is. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to help people with? When I go to your socials, it's like, that's what they help people with. That's what they do. That's what they're passionate about. That's the journey that they're on. So maybe you're not successful in your business yet, but you really want to attract business builders. You want to attract a team. Maybe you're not successful yet. I will reiterate, you don't have to be. But if you know where you're going, you know what people are struggling with, you know inflation, you know the cost of living, you know the cost of petrol. It's a journey, it's a story. Maybe you have had a result in your business or your products. Maybe you are looking younger. Maybe you have lost some weight. What do you do? Talk about it. Take people on the journey with you. Brainstorm all of that. Work out your brand, your content pillars, your sub-content, your micro-content. Sit down, take some time to work it out. You will never struggle with content again. Is that helpful to any of you? Some of you just majorly overcomplicating it. And this is where I get frustrated with people that say, I'm so overwhelmed by social media, I need a detox. And yet, if you scan your social media, you're not doing much. So that means you're thinking about social media and social media content probably a lot, but you have no systems and no process and no real brand behind it. So make it easier for yourself. Spend some time on that branding message, and that might be different on different platforms. Mine certainly is. I've got a different brand on TikTok than I have on my Facebook business page and YouTube and Instagram, etc. So work that out, and then go and work out your content pillars, your sub-content, and your micro-content. Okay? So, hey, Dee Dee, how are you? Hey, Ford, good to see you guys on. Hi, Cherie, that resonates with you. Awesome. My message was changing, but I don't want to. Okay. So this is the thing with social media to be successful is your messaging. Like for your content to really be worthwhile and for you to attract the people that you want from your content, that messaging needs to be really dialed in. And that's the brand. Okay. So if that's not where it kind of needs to be, spend some time there working out, what it is that you want to position yourself as, and lead with one thing. When you lead with one thing and get following and conversations and influence, you can do what you damn well like. I often use Oprah as an example with that. So Oprah Winfrey, my mouse makes a common appearance on my social media. But let's say I put up a mouse and I'm Oprah Winfrey and I'm like, this is the best mouse ever. It's small, it's compact, it's colorful, it brightens my day, whatever. Because Oprah stands up and says that everybody goes and buys one. They're flocking to buy one. Then Oprah shares her favorite pen and everyone goes and buys the pen. And then Oprah will share her favorite sticky tape. And everyone will go and buy the sticky tape. Now, she could go all over the place with cars and clothes and books and whatever. Everyone will go and buy it because she's got an audience. She's got influence. Okay? Go and get an audience and influence on one thing. Get really laser focused on that. And then once you start to get some traction, you can start talking about some other things. But and on a personal, let me clarify, on a personal profile, you are going to blend different content pillars in different buckets because it's a personal profile. So you might have a bit of product and it might have a bit of business and it might have a bit of family and it might have, hobbies of yours and it might have inspiration. So you can blend on a personal profile because it is a personal profile. But if you're on a business page, you're in a group, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, tighten up that branding, okay? You need to work on your pillars again, okay? So thank you for sharing, Dee. So I'm going to just use this as an example. I help women take control of their health and make it easier for themselves to find my health and wellness. So I help women take control of their health and make it easier for themselves. Now, you're probably just putting that out there as a comment, but that's way too broad. So, and you might have it dialed in more than that, Dee Dee. Just from that, what is it that you help them with their health? Like get more specific, like pull back those layers. What is it that you help women with specifically with their health? General statements, especially in the health and wellness industry, if that's the business that you're in social selling, you need to dial in on one thing. So is it weight loss? Is it anti-aging? Is it inflammation? Is it energy? Is it gut health? Is it digestion? What's your one thing? Again, it doesn't mean that you don't talk about other things. It means that you lead with one thing. We've got to lead with one thing to cut through all the noise on social media. You need to say that one thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Get an audience, get influence, start some conversations, and then you can talk about all the other products that you've got. But lead with one thing predominantly. Okay. Okay, personal development, video, family, business, inflammation. So it depends where you're branding yourself, Dee. So on a personal profile, you could blend all of those things, but you still want to lead with one more than the other. Okay, what do you want to get known for? I find a lot of people in this industry will fall back on personal development. It's just personal development is really hard to lead with because of the Tony Robbins and the Mel Robbins, and everybody just defaults to personal development. It is a good thing to talk about, but it may not be necessarily what you want to lead with if that's not what you sell. So reverse engineer what you want to sell more of. So if you want to sell more health and wellness products, then lead with something, around that. Okay. Branding is such a huge discussion. We could be here for an hour just talking about, things to do with branding. But for you guys, you need to think about what is it you want to be known for, and reverse engineer that to what it is that you actually sell. It needs to align with you, and then your content will align with that. So if your content's all over the place, social media will exhaust you. Social media content will exhaust you. Okay. Agreed. I've done the process before, but I thought I had to change to coaching, but I realized I didn't want to do that. It's still got to align with you. If you try to force something that doesn't really align with you, or somebody tells you should brand yourself a certain way, just, really take that into consideration as to what aligns with you at the end of the day. Because if you're showing up and branding yourself in a way that somebody's told you how to brand yourself and it doesn't align with you, you won't do it. You'll stop doing it. In saying that, when I went online about 4 or 5 years ago, what was taught back then is to teach what I'm still teaching you now. So I teach social media to social sellers. That's what I was told to do. There was no, positioning myself on, regarding health and wellness, although that's the business that I'm in. I have health and wellness products. I don't talk about health and wellness products here with you guys. I've built a brand, 20,000 followers on my Facebook business page for this, what you're listening to right now. And I will say that didn't necessarily align with me back then. I had no success to speak of. I was from corporate. I was a general manager. What the hell did I know about teaching people about social media and being a coach and all that kind of things? But I enjoyed it. It resonated with me. I enjoyed it and I embraced it. So I learned to love it. But I didn't start that way. So I'm not that coach that's going to say, you've got to be passionate about it. And unless you're passionate about it, it won't stick. I wasn't passionate about attraction marketing or social media, but I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed learning it. So that was enough for me to be able to keep going with it. And then I really I love talking about branding. I love what I do. So I learned to love it, but I still had a connection with it because I love learning. So, but if you don't like learning it, if you don't think you ever want to teach it, if you don't ever want to be a coach kind of like me, it just doesn't gel with you at all. Don't brand yourself that way because it won't stick. But if you think there's something there, like what I say to people regarding sort of branding is pick your little niche area. So there's a lot to do. Like if you were a sort of coach like me, what are the areas that really interest you? It could be attraction marketing, or it could be lead generation, or it could be content creation, or it could be reels, or it could be TikTok. It could be pick your thing. You don't have to be all things to all people. Pick your thing that you like learning about and turning around and teaching it. You can build a brand around that, even if you're not successful yet. But if you've got a passion for it, a vision for it, an inspiration for it, you're determined to do it yourself, all you need to be is one step ahead of the people that you're teaching and training. Okay, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but I hope this is helpful. Okay, that expert thing still crops up for me every now and again. The training today helped me with the process and a system for the content. Great. So Cherie was on the coaching community training earlier today. So she's now got a system that I shared. Yep, resolving it right now. Awesome. I also didn't have an offer for marketing to invite them to either. Yeah, and unless you're, I mean, I relied on affiliate marketing. So if you align yourself with somebody that's got an affiliate offer that can help, that helps with that side of it. So that's what I did until I had skills of my own. Okay. Awesome. About to go on a weight loss journey too. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Helen from Faye. Yes, I do complicate it sometimes. You do. Yep. Yep. Most people do. That's why I'm talking about it. Okay. My pillars haven't changed much. I don't know, honestly. I just started to figure this out. So this is why I'm talking about it, Dee. Really take into consideration what I'm sharing with you today and have a real good think about, one, what aligns with you. Maybe you're not successful yet. Don't worry about it. Maybe, you don't have the influence yet. Don't worry about it. What are you on a mission for, even though you're not successful yet? What do you really want to help people with? And what are you reverse engineering that you want to sell more of? Like all of those things you need to take into consideration and like just brainstorm it. Don't force it. Sit with all these questions that I'm throwing at you, brainstorm it and work out how you want to position yourself online. Okay. All right. Awesome. So coming up and just getting some things fixed. The health and wellness is what I mean. The social media I'm cool with. So it also depends on the platforms. So I brand myself on TikTok with health. That's my weight loss journey. I don't talk about business there. I was on TikTok for well over a year talking about business. It didn't get me anywhere. I went on a journey myself earlier in this year with weight loss. So I brand myself on TikTok talking about weight loss and intermittent fasting and all sorts of things. I don't talk there what I talk about here. So it is possible to brand yourself differently on different platforms. I will warn you, it's more work. Okay, because what used to be really handy for me is doing my reels on Instagram and just repurposing them to TikTok. No extra effort. So if you brand yourself the same way on the different platforms, you can repurpose. Like you could do one reel, and if your branding is the same on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, you could use the one piece of content and repurpose it on all three platforms. It's easy. But I changed. But it does mean I need to create different content. And what suffered for me is my Instagram reels, big time. Because I'm been so focused on TikTok and it's worked. My following has gone to over 40,000 people. I've got customers, constant new customers from TikTok, like it's working. But it's more product, it's not business. So you've got to work out what your capacity is, what time you have to create content. But once you've got the content ideas, then you can just go and create the content. So you've got to come up with the ideas before you worry about the execution. Okay. So I've talked long enough. I hope this conversation was helpful, just to food for thought regarding for you to be really, really effective in your content creation. Dial back to your branding message first and then follow the process that I gave you with the content pillars, the subtopics, the micro contents, and coaching community members. Again, go and grab the worksheet that I created for you to make this really, really simple for yourself. Okay? Thank you for listening. Join me tomorrow for more great training.